They called me a sweet old lady, a kindly landlord. They never imagined what lay beneath my rose-colored facade. I was born Dorothea Helen Gray on January 9th, 1929, in Redlands, California. My childhood was anything but idyllic. My parents were alcoholics, and I spent my formative years bouncing between homes and orphanages. It wasn't long before I learned to mask my pain with charm, to turn my sorrow into something useful, a mask of kindness. By the 1970s, I had reinvented myself as Dorothea Puente, a respectable woman with a boarding house in Sacramento. I took in the vulnerable, the elderly, the mentally ill, the forgotten. To the outside world, I was a saint, offering shelter and warm meals to those in need. But behind closed doors, my kindness had a price. The first death was almost accidental. One of my tenants, a man with no family and a fat government check, died suddenly. The idea came to me in a flash. No family meant no questions. I buried him in my garden, took his checks, and life went on as usual. The flowers bloomed brighter over his grave, nourished by his passing. After that, it became easier. I had a knack for picking the right victims, those who wouldn't be missed. I would cook them dinner, mix in a little sedative, and wait for the drugs to take effect. Once they were unconscious, I'd smother them gently, my hands steady as I ended their suffering. The garden became my canvas, the soil a resting place for those I helped. Tenants came and went, their absence explained by stories of sudden moves or family emergencies. Meanwhile, their checks kept coming, funding my quiet, comfortable life. In 1988, my luck ran out. A social worker came looking for a tenant, Alvaro Montoya, who had vanished. The police searched my property and uncovered 7 bodies buried in the garden. My house of cards collapsed, the facade shattered. In court, I maintained my innocence, portraying myself as a misunderstood woman who simply cared too much. The jury didn't buy it. I was convicted of 3 murders, though investigators suspected I was responsible for as many as 15. Now, I sit in prison, the flowers in my garden long gone. I am Dorothea Puente, the quiet baker. In my hands, life was fragile, fleeting, and ultimately expendable.